Imagine a city so blinded by its own pride that when the enemy's cannons roared, they cheered, while their walls crumbled. Within days, a civilization that had stood for over 1,000 years vanished into history. But what caused this? Was it military failure? Or something far more sinister, buried in arrogance and division? Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button because understanding the fall of Constantinople could change how you see the world today. Warning 10. The Illusion of Invincibility, 1450 to 1453. The Byzantine Empire in the mid-15th century was a shadow of its former glory. Constantinople, once the jewel of the Eastern Roman Empire, was surrounded by decay, internal corruption, and relentless political infighting. Despite the mounting Ottoman threat under Sultan Mehmed II, the city's leaders were intoxicated by pride. They believed their walls that had withstood sieges for centuries, made them untouchable. But invincibility is a dangerous illusion. While generals debated endlessly over alliances and resources, Mehmed meticulously prepared. He didn't just amass an army, he created a psychological war. Rumors of overwhelming forces, terrifying cannons capable of shattering stone, and relentless discipline spread. The Byzantines laughed at the stories, mocking the Sultan's ambition. Their arrogance wasn't just military. It was cultural and political. The elite believed that their heritage alone demanded respect. They held council meetings in lavish halls while the city outside was crumbling in morale. The ordinary citizens, sensing the leadership's apathy, were split. Some prepared quietly, others indulged in a false sense of security. Fast forward to today, and the warning is clear. Societies that overestimate their strength while ignoring external threats invite disaster. From corporate monopolies ignoring emerging technologies to nations ignoring geopolitical shifts, history repeats itself. The Byzantine illusion of invincibility cost them their empire in a matter of days. Warning 9. Division within the walls. As Mehmed's army approached, Constantinople's internal divisions became deadly. Political pride prevented cooperation between factions. The Western allies, desperate for unity against a common enemy, offered help, but the Byzantine elite refused. Religious disputes, power struggles, and petty jealousies ensured that no cohesive defense could form. Inside the city, mistrust spread like wildfire. Soldiers argued with commanders, citizens doubted their leaders, entire districts isolated themselves, hoarding supplies instead of sharing. The Ottoman siege exploited these cracks. Every wall section that could have been reinforced remained weak. Every contingency plan that might have saved lives was ignored. Psychologically, this was the perfect storm. Humans, when divided and prideful, often misjudge both threats and allies. The Byzantines' arrogance transformed their greatest asset, the city's population, into a liability. Imagine standing on the walls, seeing your neighbors falter, the enemy pushing closer, and knowing that the people meant to protect you are too busy protecting their egos. That is the slow poison of division. Modern parallels are haunting. Polarized societies today, where trust is eroded by ideology, can crumble from within, even before external pressures reached their breaking point. Division is not just social, it's existential. Warning 8. The Cannons of Change. Mehmed II didn't just bring men, he brought technology that would redefine warfare forever. The massive bombards, designed by the Hungarian engineer Orban, could fire cannonballs weighing hundreds of kilograms, smashing walls that had repelled countless invasions. The Byzantines, still relying on traditional defensive tactics, were unprepared. Pride blinded them. Many believed no machine could penetrate walls that had resisted sieges for centuries. While engineers argued for adaptation, commanders dismissed innovation. And when the first bombardment shattered the Theodosian walls, shock rippled through the city. This was more than a military shift. It was psychological warfare. The citizens had seen the impossible happen. Walls, symbols of divine and imperial protection, crumbling under human ingenuity. Panic set in. Pride, once a shield, became a chain. The lesson: innovation, especially from rivals, is unstoppable if ignored. In today's world, companies, nations, or communities that dismiss technological or cultural shifts often face a brutal, rapid collapse, just like Constantinople. Warning 7. The celebration before the fall. Here's the most shocking part. As the Ottoman forces approached, some citizens of Constantinople celebrated, thinking the siege would be brief or that their heritage guaranteed survival. Festivals continued. Lavish feasts persisted in the palace. Wine flowed as the enemy's cannons drew closer. This is the human mind at its most dangerous. Arrogance fueled by denial. The citizens cheered for parades while death marched at their gates. Their joy was a perverse mirror of impending doom, a warning that pride can blind even the innocent. Modern societies sometimes mirror this behavior. Entire nations or organizations ignore looming crises, convinced that cultural prestige or past victories will save them. The warning: joy without vigilance in the face of danger is the prelude to tragedy. Warning 6. Misjudging the enemy. The Byzantines consistently underestimated Mehmed II. Reports of Ottoman strength were dismissed as exaggerations. Scouts' warnings were ignored. Even when the Ottoman fleet entered the Golden Horn, many believed they could repel them with traditional naval tactics. This misjudgment wasn't just ignorance. It was hubris. Leaders evaluated threats based on past encounters, not current realities. They assumed experience and reputation would outweigh innovation and preparation. History's pattern is stark. Every time humans misjudge an evolving threat, the cost is catastrophic. Today, misreading technological disruptors, rising global powers, or ideological movements can lead to similar systemic collapses. The Byzantines' fall serves as an eternal case study of the danger of underestimating the enemy. Warning 5. Panic in the streets. As Mehmed's forces advanced into Constantinople, the city descended into chaos. The proud elite who had mocked Ottoman preparation now ran frantically, issuing contradictory orders. Merchants abandoned their stalls, citizens fled in confusion, and the wailing of families echoed through the streets. But panic wasn't just emotional. It was strategic. Troops lost cohesion, Walls were left undefended, and bridges of retreat were blocked by civilians who didn't know where to go. The siege was not just a battle of armies, it was a war on human psychology. Those who once mocked fear now became prisoners of it. Pride had blinded them to preparation, and division had fractured their response. Lessons for today: panic spreads faster than bullets. Whether in financial markets, political systems, or environmental crises, unprepared and divided populations collapse first. Warning 4. Betrayal from within. In the final days, betrayal struck Constantinople like a dagger in the back. Some nobles, seeing the inevitability of Ottoman victory, attempted secret deals to save themselves. Guards abandoned posts for bribes. Families turned on neighbors for food or shelter. Loyalty, once the foundation of society, was shattered by fear and selfishness. Psychologically, this is humanity stripped to its raw instincts. When trust erodes, survival instincts dominate. Modern parallels abound. Companies, governments, and communities that ignore internal integrity often fail faster than external forces can strike. In Constantinople, betrayal wasn't just a footnote. It was a catalyst accelerating the fall. Warning 3. Fire and destruction. As Ottoman troops entered the city, they ignited fires across key districts. Smoke blackened the sky, reducing visibility and spreading terror. The city's famed libraries, churches, and palaces, repositories of knowledge for centuries, burned. Priceless art, historical records, and sacred relics vanished in hours. This was not just conquest, it was the annihilation of identity. Constantinople had prided itself on culture, faith, and history, yet in the space of days, it was erased. Pride had convinced its people that their legacy was untouchable. Reality proved otherwise. For modern societies, the warning is devastating. Infrastructure, culture, and legacy are fragile. Overconfidence can blind communities to threats, whether environmental disasters, cyber attacks, or geopolitical upheaval. Warning 2. Psychological collapse. The human cost was staggering. Citizens and soldiers alike faced an overwhelming cognitive dissonance, the pride they held for centuries versus the imminent reality of annihilation. Families huddled in basements, soldiers abandoned posts, and screams of despair mingled with the clashing of swords. The mind, when confronted with total collapse, reacts unpredictably. Some fought with desperate courage, others surrendered in hopelessness. History shows that societies fractured by internal arrogance rarely survive external assault. Today, similar patterns appear in polarized, hyper-connected societies. When systems fail or crises strike, psychological collapse spreads through networks of fear and misinformation faster than any physical threat. Constantinople offers a chilling blueprint of what happens when human pride and cognitive bias meet unstoppable force. Warning 1. The Fall and the Lesson. Finally, May 29, 1453, the day Constantinople fell. Sultan Mehmed II entered the city not just as a conqueror but as the executor of a societal warning. The proud walls were broken, elite arrogance defeated, and the citizens' celebration before the siege turned into screams during the fall. The ultimate lesson: division invites destruction. Pride without unity is fatal. Societies, organizations, and even individuals who fail to recognize threats, ignore innovation, or allow internal conflict to fester, will eventually face consequences far beyond repair. The modern parallel is stark. Polarized nations, fractured communities, and hubristic leadership can repeat Constantinople's tragedy in new forms. Economic collapses, social upheaval, and environmental disasters all exploit arrogance and disunity. As we reflect on the fall of a city that once celebrated its enemy, ask yourself, are we truly united in facing the crises of our time, or are we cheering as walls crumble around us? If this story shocked you, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next Top 10 Untold episode will uncover another society blinded by pride and on the brink of disaster. Share this with friends who think history doesn't repeat itself, because in today's world, ignorance can be as deadly as any cannon.